You've probably heard of The Shawshank Redemption. People call it the greatest movie ever made. They say it's about a man escaping prison. But that's not really the story. Because Andy Dufresne wasn't escaping at all. He was already free. Yeah. Before the tunnel, before the storm, before the redemption, Andy had already broken out. Just not the way anyone expected. See, most people in Shawshank serve 2 sentences, one behind bars and one inside their own heads. Andy, he refused the second one. While every man in there was surviving, he was living. He didn't fight the system, he outgrew it. He didn't wait for the gates to open. He realized they were never really closed. That's the part people miss. The real prison wasn't Shawshank. Because freedom doesn't start at the gate. It starts right here, in your head. Let's go back to where it all started. 1947. A quiet banker named Andy Dufresne gets accused of killing his wife and her lover. He didn't do it, but the jury took one look at his calm face and decided it was the face of a killer. 2 life sentences, straight to Shawshank Prison. The first night inside, the place is chaos. New prisoners cry, scream, and lose their minds. Andy just stands there, silent, still, like his body is trapped, but his mind is already somewhere else. A few days later, he meets Red, the guy who can get you anything in that place. And Andy's first request is a rock hammer. Not a weapon, not something to survive, just a tiny tool for carving stones. And just like that, I thought, okay, bloodshed incoming. He's about to go full John Wick on these guards. But no, I was completely wrong. Andy isn't planning revenge. He's planning something else. While everyone else is just trying to stay alive, he's thinking about creating something. Then there's the Sisters Gang, Shawshank's darkest secret. They abuse and target other inmates. And Andy becomes one of them. He doesn't complain, doesn't beg, doesn't break. He just keeps showing up, bruised, quiet, and calculating. Until one day, karma finally clocks in. A guard named Hadley almost throws Andy off a rooftop after hearing him talk back. But before the fall, Andy blurts out financial advice, how to save him from paying taxes on his inheritance. Hadley freezes. Andy offers help and asks for only one thing in return: cold beers for his fellow inmates working on that roof. That rooftop scene is one of the first real shifts. Andy risks his life not for safety, but so his friends can feel free for a few minutes. And that's when Hadley realizes Andy isn't just another inmate. Soon after, Hadley beats Boggs, the gang leader who assaulted Andy, so badly he's left permanently disabled and transferred out. Andy is never attacked again. The second most satisfying moment in the movie. After that, things start to move. Warden Norton, or as I like to call him, Norton Virus because he's the bad guy in the movie, makes his entrance. He shows up in Andy's cell under the excuse of a random inspection. But really, he's there because he heard about the banker who saved Hadley's $30,000. Andy's standing there with his Bible, holding it calmly. The warden takes it from his hands, stares at it. If he'd opened it right then, the whole movie would have ended. But he doesn't. He hands it back and says, "There's salvation in this." The director was teasing it all along. How important that Bible really was. Salvation for both of them. Andy's freedom and Norton's downfall. From that moment on, Andy becomes the warden's personal accountant, cleaning his dirty money under the name Randall Steffens, a man that doesn't even exist. But Andy never loses his composure. He plays along, watches, waits. Meanwhile, Red watches him too, and says something that sums him up perfectly. Andy walked through that prison like he had an invisible coat that shielded him. That's when you realize something is building, something way bigger than just an escape. And it's only getting started. Then comes Brooks, the old librarian who spent 50 years behind bars.
When he's finally released, he panics and holds a knife to another inmate's throat. He doesn't want to leave. Prison is his world now. Andy and Red calm him down, but outside, Brooks can't survive. The world's too fast, too loud, too free. He carves "Brooks was here" into a wooden beam and hangs himself. That's when Andy realizes something deeper. The real prison isn't made of stone. It's made of habit. Back inside, the warden launches his Inside Out program, supposedly to teach inmates work ethics. In reality, he's just building his own empire with cheap prison labor. And Andy? He's the accountant who makes the whole scam look legal. But somehow, he still seems calm, hopeful. Because Andy knows something no one else in Shawshank does. You can't lock up a man who's already decided he's free. If you like watching deeper pop culture breakdowns, movie decodes, or character stories like this, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Helps the channel and keeps me motivated to keep digging through this kind of stuff. Then comes Tommy, young, cocky, full of energy. He hears Andy helps people, so he asks to finish high school. Andy agrees. One day, Tommy tells a story. In another prison, his cellmate bragged about killing a rich banker's wife and her lover. The banker went to prison for it. That banker was Andy Dufresne. Ugh, poor guy. At this point, I was super attached. What else could possibly go wrong? But Shawshank's got layers of cruelty left. Andy runs to the warden with proof of his innocence, but Norden shuts him down. He can't afford to lose his money, man. When Andy refuses to keep working, the warden throws Andy into solitary. 1 month, then 2. While he's locked in the dark, something happens outside. Tommy's killed. Trying to escape, they claim. Yeah, right. The guy who just found hope suddenly runs at armed guards. Please. Everyone inside knows what really happened. He wasn't escaping. He was silenced for telling the truth. When Andy finally steps out of solitary, you can see it. He looks different. Not broken, not angry, just done. He tells Red about his dream. Cihuateño, a place by the sea in Mexico. A small boat, calm mornings, a life without walls. Red goes back to his cell that night, uneasy, replaying the conversation. He's tense, confused, and honestly scared that Andy might hurt himself. Then morning comes, the cell's open, and Andy's cell is empty. Just empty. Guards panic, the warden storms in. Red stands there watching, smiling inside maybe. The warden throws a rock at the poster on the wall, and it doesn't bounce back. It vanishes through it. He rips it down. Behind it, a tunnel. 19 years of digging. Andy crawled through 500 yards of sewage, half a mile of hell to come out clean on the other side. Next day, he walks into banks, withdraws nearly $3 million under the name Randall Stevens. This part honestly blew my mind. I mean, he planned all of this while living in prison. Every document, every fake ID, every signature, already done. Then he mails the warden's dirty records straight to the press. When Norden opens his safe, Andy's Bible is waiting. First page, salvation lies within. Inside it, a hammer-shaped hole. The warden hears sirens outside, realizes he's finished, and pulls the trigger. And that, my friends, is the most satisfying scene in the entire movie.
Years later, Red finally gets parole. Same room Brooks stayed in, same silence, same ghosts. He almost follows Brooks' path, but then he remembers Andy. He goes to that field in Buxton, finds the big oak tree, and under a black stone, a box. Inside it was money and a letter. And these words, "Do you remember the name of the place I told you? Cihuatanejo. Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies." Cut to the beach, blue sky. Two old friends finally living again. Andy didn't just escape a prison,
He escaped the mindset that built it. That's the part most people miss. Shawshank didn't fall the night Andy crawls out. It fell the moment he stopped letting it shape who he was. Red understood that too, but only at the end. When he watched Andy walk into the world like someone who finally stepped back into his real life. And that's when he said something that hits harder once you know the whole story. I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright. So be that bird in life. Stop this video and get back to work. Hustle. Build your dream. Situations can be bad, but in the end, it's your hands that shape the outcome. Just like I started this channel to talk about movies, stories, and pop culture, to build the community I always wanted, Andy built his own escape, one stone at a time. Freedom isn't about leaving a place. It's about freeing yourself from the prison in your head. Be like Andy. Stay patient, stay clever, and keep digging.